DeAndre Swift had a 4th down play last week where he bounced it outside.
Wow, how about that? That was awesome.
Yeah, and DeAndre, and I'm so used to last year's DeAndre Swift, who used to bounce stuff outside and be like, "What the hell are you doing, man? Go ahead and follow the blocks." He's been terrific. Are we not talking about Eric Bieniemy enough, because Swift is running different and Monangai looking so good. This run game, that's the biggest difference since the last time they played Minnesota, is this run game.
I agree.
And what is it? Is it Ben? Is it the line? Is it the backs? Is it Bieniemy? What is it?
I think the offensive line is the most. I think the offensive line right now, as I look at our football team, defensive line, sure, we're better. I mean, the secondary's hung in there very good for injuries. Linebackers are solid. Receivers, because of been a little bit up and down, dropping some balls. Running backs improved, yes. And that's because I think, playing, Kyle a little bit more. But also, the number one position for me that's improved on this team is the offensive line. And nobody wants. I mean, this line coach we got is outstanding. And then look. I mean, the 3 guys that Ryan Poles signed, the center and 2 guards, they haven't missed anything, Coach. These guys don't miss. They're tough guys. They're smart. We got Darnell Wright playing at a Pro Bowl level, which he should be. And then we found ourselves a left tackle. Theo is the future.
It's one of the things I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
And you're right. And Dan Rochar's done an incredible job with Bears' offensive line. Going up to play in a place like Minnesota, on the road is always difficult. Playing in a place that's loud, and that place can get loud. What should Theo Benedict make sure that he's getting right when he goes into this situation, knowing that Flores is going to send all sorts of stuff at him?
Yeah, they'll be going by a solid con. I don't know what they're going with the hands on the offensive line. If they're holding hands, if he's just watching the ball, if he's tapping a hip. There's different things that linemen do back and forth on the snap con. The only thing I would tell him is just don't be early. And that's tough to say. In other words, don't jump the count. He might be a tenth of a second late, which you don't want either or. But if you're early, it's going to penalize us and it's going to cost us. So just, that's all. And I'm sure they're piping noise in. He's going to have to deal with it. There's no easy way to do that. There really isn't. You know?
Just 3 penalties last week, but as you say, they're on the road with all the noise. Why is Dan Rochar doing such a good job? What do you see?
Fundamentals. And you remember when we had Tony Wise on this show? He talked about Dan. He's known Dan, for 20 years and or longer. And Dan comes from the Harry Hested, from that
tree
of guys, and hit you in the mouth guys. There's these soft position guys, and there's guys that want to get down and hit you in the mouth. And he falls into that neighborhood. I think the fundamentals are the biggest thing that's improved.
Fundamentals being like what? It's taking the right steps, using the hands the right way?
Hand placement, head placement, finishing the blocks, and then you have success, and it starts snowballing on you, All of a sudden, and the backs are running harder, the linemen blocking, and we got to give Ben credit. I mean, you got to dial up the right plays too. You can't just run up there to say you did it. He's trying to design some blocking schemes, and he's trying to decide when to run outside and when to run inside, and so I think it's a variety of all those things.
It's crazy. Lawrence, check this out. Top 6 running teams in the NFL. Number 6 is the Lions with that 2-headed monster. Number 5 is the Ravens with Derrick Henry and Lamar. Number 4 is the Jets with Breece Hall and with Fields.
Mm-hmm. See them tonight.
Number 3 is the Colts with Jonathan Taylor,
who's just having a monster year.
Number 2 is the Chicago Bears.
Damn right.
With DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai.
And Caleb.
You're right. And number 1 is the Bills with Josh Allen and with what's his name? I forgot his name.
I forgot his name too.
I almost finished. I almost closed the deal.
You almost did.
I almost stuck the landing.
That's all right though.
It's Cook. It's James Cook. James Cook. Dalvin Cook's little brother.
Who's also having a tremendous
year and is a tremendous player. So the Bears belong in that pack of 6 right at the top. It's unbelievable.
Isn't that what Ben? Maybe people didn't think he was known for,
right.
But if you were paying attention, you were like, oh, yeah, the Lions like to run the ball to set up play action, and now the Bears are that team.
And don't underestimate the running that Caleb has had. I think he's averaging 50 or 60 yards a game the last 2 or 3 games. So, and that's all part of it. I mean, your quarterback needs to be able to make some plays. And some of the runs that Caleb has had have been designed. Some of them have just been kind of on his own,
I want to go back since you brought it up and you said probably not enough people are talking about it. What do you like about what Darnell Wright is doing at right tackle?
I think he's just being effective with his blocks. The easy thing to say is, he's being tough guy nasty. You don't just become nasty and tough overnight. You know what I mean? You either have that or you don't have that. I think the more I'll use the word aggressive. I think the more aggressive, in my experience, that offensive linemen, the more effective they are making their blocks, the more confident they are making those blocks, the more aggressive they can be. I think it all kind of fits, and he's got the ability to do it all. And I think couple weeks ago he knocked some people over. All of a sudden, people are talking about him nationally, not just locally. People are putting stuff on Twitter. I saw Baldinger, is that his name? Brian.
Brian Baldinger.
He did a big breakdown on it.
He put something on there. So if I wasn't a Bears fan and I'm just following Baldy around, I'm reading that and I'm saying, God, this Darnell Wright guy, look at this. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden and trust me, offensive linemen and defensive linemen, guys in the league follow that stuff, as crazy as it sounds. And so they'll see something on Twitter like that and they'll say, that's pretty impressive. So it's a good thing.
Darnell said something a couple weeks ago. I can't get it out of my head. He said that Ben and the coaching staff has a way of making him feel like he's the most important guy.
Yeah.
On a play. You know.
Yeah, and that's confidence. I mean, that's yes, and he has the ability to back it up. I remember when they drafted him. The big conversation was his athletic ability, okay? And that he played left tackle, right tackle, left guard, right guard. He played everywhere, basically. And the other thing was that I liked about him was that he stayed. He could have come out and been drafted as a junior, but he stayed at Tennessee and got his degree and stayed one more year. So, that to me, and maybe I'm old school, but to me that tells me something. That this kid, he knew he was going to be a good football player in the pros, but he getting his school and staying at school in Tennessee, that was all important to him. I like that.
Hey, Coach, Dave Wannstedt's here, and he's almost out of bourbon, which is just an absolute crime.
We didn't have a lot to begin with.
No.
Come on, listeners. Somebody donate. I'll give you some loving on here. Because it ain't going to happen here.
What are you talking about?
Well, maybe we're on. Oh, that's
rationing it out.
You know what? I'll bring my own in next week again. I don't have a problem doing that. Okay.
Sounds like you do, Coach.
I
don't want to
be
be taken care of.
Not at all. Not one bit.
Sure. I mean, I understand. You're
positive.
You're
Coach,
Dave
you want
Wannstedt.
2 fingers. Whose fingers are we talking?
Whose fingers are we
Anthony
talking
Munoz.
Anthony Munoz.
Yeah, type fingers.
Andre the Giant fingers.
Larry Allen.
That's a good question.
Obviously, whoever this was, that's not going to get it. But Coach, that wasn't even a shot glass in a bar. Jeez, oh man!
I know.
I'd never come back again. If I was paying for this in a bar, it'd be the last drink you ever served me.
All right, but here's the thing. I don't think you're paying. In fact, I think we're paying you. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I pay for the bourbon. Anyway. Yeah, no. So what was your question?
My question, thanks for bringing it back around. End of that game. I had to realize, boy, this Caleb kid, man, he's kind of a baller. Like he's got the clutch gene. And I never met Clutch Gene. He was one of Mac's old friends. But
yeah.
He's got that clutch gene. What's that about? He just does.
He does. And I remember the first time we played, I forget who the quarterback was at the Steelers, and Ben Roethlisberger came into play.
Ooh.
And we played him in Miami. And Jason Taylor beat the Steeler tackle, and came clean and hit Ben and basically melted, okay? In other words, Ben was so big and strong, he shook him off. And everybody, including Jason Taylor, was like, where'd this come from? Well, as I'm watching the Giants game, keep in mind, these 2 outside rushers for the Giants, Thibodeau and Burns, these guys are athletes. They aren't big, stiff guys. and they couldn't, number one, contain him. And you know that they're being coached. I would hope so, or they should have fired him if they weren't saying contain the quarterback. I mean, I was shocked that they let him get outside. You can't. I mean, but that's another story. But then when they did have opportunities to get a hand on Caleb, he's stronger and tougher than you give him credit for. He really is.
We talked about that earlier this week. The thing is that Caleb's probably 6'1", but he's 230 pounds.
Yeah.
A lot of leg strength, a lot of leg drive going on with him when you try to tackle him.
Absolutely. No, and it was impressive. It was impressive. And then when on the winning touchdown, when he turned the corner, he was running away from everybody.
Yeah, and he had options. He had Zacchaeus open.
Yep.
If he wanted him, he's like, nah, I think I just got this.
And when you watch that play again, and we've talked about it a little bit this week, watch Cole Kmet. He drives the defender 10 yards.
You want me to draw that up tonight?
Oh, please do.
If you'd like to, I'd love that.
I'll draw that one up.
He drove the defender 10 yards into the end zone to get
awesome. Caleb
in there.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about it next segment when Coach draws it up. I love the idea of when you and Jason Taylor saw a guy like Roethlisberger being like, oh, man, we got troubles with this guy. There could be some opposition that feels that way about Caleb after watching that.
Now they do, I promise you, because the NFL respects those two outside guys for the Giants. You know, I mean, Trey Henderson didn't play for Cincinnati. I don't know who took their place.
Nobody.
But Burns was a top sack guy in the NFL last year, guys.
He has, 11?
11
this year?
Does he have 11 this year?
Yeah, he was top sack guy going into last week.
Okay. And he didn't get him on the ground. You know, so that's how did last year at this time, I think Caleb was sacked 36 times. Is that right? Or for the year? I mean,
he was 68 on the season.
Yeah, 30. I think last year at this time he was sacked 36 times. I mean, you talk about what's the biggest change in this football team? It might be the sacks, if you really think about it. That's an incredible number. It really is.
And now that you get a second opportunity at them, what should be different?
We talked about it. I may have drawn up the play. Their defensive line, if you run the outside zone play, in fact, I can bring that board up here, Alex. I can knock out two discussions here with one. Okay?
All right. So for all those that are watching on YouTube and Twitch, here you go.
Okay. If you are going to try to stop early in the year, the first game of the season, Kyle Monungai in the inside run game was non-existent. The Bears were a zone team, an outside zone team, where everybody was just doing this. The running back takes the ball, and then he's got to find the soft spot to cut it back on. Okay, this is our man DeAndre Swift, okay, right there. Now, how you stop the outside zone, if you're a soft defensive line, you're going to get pushed. You are going to get pushed. Someone's going to get cut off, and there will be a soft spot for the back to cut it. Okay? That makes sense.
Yep.
How you stop it is get penetration with your defensive line. The thing that happened in the first game, those two big tackles that they signed, give me their names, Hargrave and who was the other one from Minnesota. These guys are outstanding players. And it's
Jonathan Allen, right?
Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave.
They were getting penetration right here, knocking us back. So now when Swift got the ball, there was no place to cut. Well, now all of a sudden we got inside running plays, okay, that if you want to come up the field aggressively, hell, we may even see a trap or something this week, or we've seen a block down. So we've adjusted our running game a little bit as the year's gone on. Now, the touchdown, the winning touchdown, what was that play?
This is the winning touchdown from last week, and Coach is going to draw it up where Caleb goes naked bootleg left.
Right. Okay, we'll start over here. This our wide receiver here, he ran to get this free safety and corner to run with him, okay, to create some soft spot in this area. Everybody else reached real hard. And if I did this, that would and then our running back, here he is, here he comes. He starts this path. Here comes Caleb. What play am I running right here? I'm running the outside zone. which was one of our number one plays. So the defense, the linebackers,
They start flowing.
They're going. Everybody's taking off and getting to the football. Caleb fakes it here, and he comes around the edge. Our tight end, this is important, he goes in motion, and he seals here. Kmet releases, and he goes and blocks this corner, which you were talking about, Spigs. So it was a really nice design play. We covered for Kmet right there. DJ blocked right there. Here comes Caleb with the ball. We got Kmet coming over to block here. He gets on him and blocks him in the end zone. And these guys here all run to the football.
So the play action worked like a charm.
Play action. We would run. I'm gonna give you a story. Thank you.
Good job, Alex.
Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense.
So it was set up. That's a play you set up. But you can run that any time. We ran that, guys. We were playing. I'm taking you back now. Half of our listeners won't even know who this guy is. But Vinny Testaverde was our quarterback. He won the Heisman and was the first pick of the draft at the University of Miami. We were running the outside lead. We were number 2 in the country. Oklahoma was number 1 in the Orange Bowl. And they were chasing the ball just like this. Without telling Vinny, without saying a word to him, he went in the huddle we called the outside zone, and he told our running back, I'm not giving you the ball, but run your same path. Didn't even tell the lineman. Nobody knew except the running back. So Vinny fakes him the ball. He pretends like he has it and kept it himself and ran it in about 25 yards for a touchdown.
And Vinny was, for Vinny to do that, he had a lot of space, huh?
But the point is, it's a counter off of what the defense is doing. So it was a great call by Ben and obviously well executed by the guys.
You set them up,
Now,
then you get them.
Now, the first play of the game was a form of this. Fake the outside zone, boot Caleb, but then hit the tight end. So you could do it and make it a run-pass option. You can do it and make it just a run, which we did.
Well, but Cole was going out there as a possible target, right?
Yes.
And then he sees Caleb running and he converts the blocker.
I guess.
I think so because Zacchaeus is right behind him as another target.
Yeah.
I thought that he had a great day blocking on Sunday.
Cole.
And I know that that's not necessarily sexy, but
dude.
every time I looked up on big plays, Cole was downfield knocking people out.
Well, the way Colson's coming on, right? We used to always say, hey, coaches, staff, players, everybody's got your niche. And the quicker you say, this is my role or this is my niche, and I jump in with both feet, the better the team's going to be and the longer you're going to be a good performer. And Cole's the guy. When we line up in something that looks like the I formation with him under center, he's the fullback.
Yeah.
When we were going to run a counter, we saw it earlier, he's the guy either blocking down or trapping somebody. He can do so much. That he's so smart and tough that he brings a lot of value to this team. And Colson, I think, is kind of getting into now as a pass receiver type of guy.
It didn't